Most of us grow up believing wars are fought for survival, for freedom, for justice. That's the story we're told. Flags, speeches, sacrifice. But there's another layer people don't like to talk about. For the United States, war has almost never been only about ideals. It has also been about money. Every major conflict didn't just send soldiers to the battlefield. It moved billions of dollars through banks, corporations, and financial markets. While families rationed food and worried about sons overseas, the financial system was learning something powerful. War could be turned into business. Let's go back to World War I. When the war broke out in 1914, America wasn't even fighting yet. Europe was tearing itself apart. Britain, France, Germany burning through men and money at a terrifying speed. And from across the Atlantic, the United States saw opportunity. American banks and industries stepped in. Wall Street, especially J.P. Morgan, arranged massive loans to Britain and France. Morgan didn't just lend money, he helped coordinate the purchase of American wheat, steel, coal, and weapons. Billions of dollars flowed from Europe into American hands. Every artillery shell fired in France carried something else with it: debt, interest payments, financial obligations to American banks. By the time the U.S. officially entered the war in 1917, the financial system was already deeply tied to the outcome. If Britain and France lost, American lenders would suffer. Suddenly, national security and financial interest weren't separate anymore. At home, ordinary Americans were urged to buy Liberty bonds. It was framed as patriotic duty. Posters showed Uncle Sam pointing, "I want you." Children collected coins for thrift stamps. Families put savings into war bonds. It felt like unity. But here's the uncomfortable truth. The small savers lent a few dollars. The big financial institutions handled the billions. Industrial profits exploded. Bankers grew more powerful. A new model was born: war financed by debt, sold to the public, underwritten by private finance. That model never went away. World War II took it to another level. By the time America officially entered in 1941, factories were already producing ships, tanks, planes, ammunition. At unbelievable scale, the country became the arsenal of democracy. But alongside the military machine, the financial machine was just as active. War bonds were sold again. This time, over 85 million Americans bought them. More than $185 billion was raised, over half the cost of the war. Citizens weren't just fighting the war. They were lending money to finance it. Meanwhile, corporations like Boeing, Ford, and General Motors shifted to military production with guaranteed contracts. The government paid, shareholders profited. War became an economic engine. And during this period, something even bigger happened. The dollar began to replace gold. After the war, under the Bretton Woods Agreement, the US dollar became the world's reserve currency. Europe was shattered. America was financially dominant. War didn't just win battles. It reshaped the global financial system. Then came the Cold War. Defense spending didn't drop back to normal levels. It stayed high. Entire industries depended on military budgets. Once you build a system where war spending fuels profits, there's always an incentive for more tension, more threats, more contracts. Defense contractors benefit, banks benefit, politicians benefit. Ordinary people, they pay through inflation, taxes, and national debt. Vietnam made that clear. The war ended in withdrawal, but financially the machine kept running. Inflation surged in the late 1960s and 1970s. The government tried to fund both war abroad and social programs at home. The result was economic strain. In 1971, Nixon ended the gold standard. The dollar became fully fiat, backed not by gold, but by trust in the US government and its power. War spending didn't just affect geopolitics. It transformed money itself. Then came the petrodollar system. Oil was priced in US dollars. Global demand for dollars became permanent. Military presence reinforced that system. Money and war were no longer separate discussions. They were one system. The Gulf War, then 9/11, then the War on Terror. Each conflict followed the same financial blueprint. Afghanistan and Iraq cost trillions. The wars didn't end in clear victories. But financially, the system never failed. Contracts were fulfilled, interest accrued, profits were made. For those at the top, endless conflict wasn't a disaster. It was predictable revenue. Today, defense spending exceeds $800 billion per year. Whether bombs are falling or not, the machinery continues. Now think about your own life. Inflation at the grocery store, taxes on your paycheck, rising national debt. All of it exists inside a system where crisis, war, financial collapse, pandemic becomes an opportunity for large-scale debt issuance and financial gain. The same mechanisms used in wartime now operate in peacetime. Conflict and crisis aren't always failures of the system. Sometimes they are features. For those who understand debt and leverage, volatility creates opportunity. For everyone else, it creates fragility. Money and power are inseparable. Financial education isn't just about investing. It's about understanding how the system works and who benefits. The next time someone says war is about honor or freedom, remember, it's also about balance sheets, interest payments, and debt. History doesn't repeat exactly, but financially, it rhymes. If you don't understand the system, you end up funding it without realizing how.